Well, we came out for the last morning of broiler chicken chores before processing date. They'll be processed tomorrow morning, and we got out to find that the electric fence around the layer paddock is down. It's been pulled. We're trying to figure out what this is. Not really sure. One line has been ripped from over here in the corner. There's clips missing on the posts.
You think deer?
I don't know.
That's the only thing that I could reason, is that like a deer got back here somehow
But whatever,
and just went buck wild.
Whatever it is, took that line that was going around the front of the coop,
snapped the pole,
and has drug it all the way off into those woods.
I mean, it full on snapped this plastic pole.
Very, very strange. All right, well, Ethan's gonna walk off through the neighboring field, see if he can figure out where our fence leads to and get an inkling as to what exactly happened here. But while we're waiting on him, I wanna brag on these birds for just a minute. So these chickens are up and moving and healthy. There's not a single one that looks questionable. Their composition is good. There's not anything that's fat or top heavy or struggling to walk or any of that stuff that we hear about. They are active. They are ready to eat this morning. But they are just healthy, very well balanced birds. Anytime we come out here midday to check on them, some are laying down, resting, others are up moving. It seems to be just a half and half balance, and anytime they see us, they perk right up. We've had or heard stories of people having a hard time moving the chicken tractors because some of the chickens get so lethargic that they just want to lay there, and they have a hard time not running over them. But no, these chickens are in fantastic shape. So we're pleased with how it's turned out. There is nothing questionable with any of these birds. They are just fantastic health. So we're thankful for that. We're gonna move them this one last time, and they'll get fed once more, and then we'll be withholding feed any this evening so that when they go to the processor, there's no feed in their crops, and we should have chicken ready to pick up on Thursday. So finally coming to the end, at least for this first round. Well, we're pretty sure this was a deer that wrecked the fence. All I can think is maybe he got antlers caught in it and took off running. We have several posts snapped clean off at the ground and clips busted off many other posts, and this line went straight off through the woods into the next field over, and a section of the rope appears to have a lot of what I'm thinking is
hair,
deer hair. So all right,
we got all that.
We'll be fence rebuilding today. All right, so the mystery is solved. Apparently it was deer that got tangled and took off running through the neighboring field and trashed our fence. So I love to hunt. It's my favorite time of year, so I'm pretty fond of deer, but they can be vandals apparently. So they've done a lot of damage for us here, cost a few dollars, but we'll get the fence patched up, and we got some other stuff to take care of today because in just a few hours, we got a chicken rodeo coming. It's processing day in the wee hours of the morning, so time to get busy. There are some things you just don't expect at 3 a.m., like visitors.
It's early morning.
Hey Chris?
Yep.
You ever held a chicken?
Nope.
We're about to go hold 150 of them.
All right.
I guess I can use my flashlight.
Well, Matt, do you think it'll go smoothly?
Yeah. I don't expect trouble. I think it'll be all right.
Yeah, that sounds like the famous last words of a fool.
Okay. See how it goes. We'll know in an hour.
We've been joined by Sayla here. Good morning, Sayla.
Good morning.
How does it feel?
So that's full 6, right?
I'm really tired.
It's cold, isn't it?
Very,
She came out in her shorts and t-shirt. She's a little cold.
I saw him in the house.
Fog rolling in. All loaded up. Empty coops.
All right, we got the birds all loaded up without a hitch, no issues whatsoever. It really wasn't bad. I think the hardest part was all the bending over and the pain it put on the lower back. But aside from that, we are on the road, and my gosh, if you've got to make a 2-hour drive to a processor, the hills of Tennessee is the place to do it. We absolutely love living in Tennessee. From just the gorgeous green rolling hills, the mountains of East Tennessee, the colors of the trees and the seasons. I wasn't used to that growing up in Texas. Even snowfall on occasion. So we adore it. We've been here about 15 or 16 years, and Kim and I both grew up in Texas, and admittedly, we are proud of that heritage, just like any good Texan would be, but there is so much that Tennessee has to offer, and it has kept us here for this long. So we're not going anywhere for the foreseeable future. Even though we had our birds processed somewhere this time around, since we don't have the equipment yet, even getting the phone call letting us know that all our birds were processed and bagged and ready for pickup, it's a little bittersweet. I mean, we're glad that everything went well, and you know, there were none that were condemned. Everything was perfect. They were in great shape, good quality. So that's wonderful. But at the same time, it's like, oh man, they did good. And we've been caring for them for 8 weeks. And then now they're, you know, it was the point. It's what we planned. But it's, you know, my wife, Kim, and I were talking, and, you know, she was saying, I'm a little sad, honestly. And she's like, maybe that's weird. I said, no, I think that's a good thing. I think we should be sad to some extent, you know, and I think you get used to things over time, but you know, death isn't natural. Like we say it is, but God created all creatures, and the point was not for everything to perish, you know, after, you know, 20 years to 100 years, depending on species. You know, the things were created to live in harmony, and sin entered the world, and that's what injected death into our existence. It's not natural. That's why it doesn't feel good. That's why it never is. We never get used to it. We never get used to losing someone and that just being okay. It wasn't supposed to be okay. And the same is true to a smaller extent when we take a life. You know, whether it's you know, hunting, you know, taking an animal from the woods, or from out here on the farm. You know, the life is taken to sustain another, but there needs to be some level of gravity to that, some gratitude that comes from the small grief of having to do something you know, to end something yourself, instead of just letting it take its course. So it's all part of it, but, you know, Kim had said, I think people assume that, you know, farmers who kill animals, and then, you know, for myself hunting, people think that hunters are heartless as well, but it's not that. You know, it's an understanding of where food comes from, but being appreciative of the life that provides that food. So anyway, we're feeling that a little bit today, you know, coming out here to all these empty chicken tractors. Feels weird, feels a little sad, but all our birds are in great shape. I mean, in bags, and will be delivered shortly. So the mission accomplished. But anyway, just wanted to share that. Have a great afternoon. Well, that concludes our first season with a family farm. We got here, hit the ground running, tried to do everything all at once, and got up and running with a pastured poultry operation. Not a big one, but that was a big leap for our family, coming from a neighborhood and not having any of the equipment, not having anything. So it was fun. It was a lot of hard work, a lot of challenges, some disappointments, but we had a fantastic time. And ultimately, the product was wonderful. I mean, it worked. It worked. Everything that we created is exactly as we would have wanted it to be. Now, the process didn't look like we wanted it to, but the end result was fantastic. So we feel very, very blessed in all this, and we're already looking forward to the next season. Some improvements, which we've mentioned, that are going to make our lives much simpler and hopefully produce an even better product and allow us to scale some. So we've had a great time. We're not giving up. We're going to keep on going, and hopefully you will continue joining us. I get tired of hearing people ask for likes and subscribes and all, but really, truly, it makes a difference. So if you see any value in what we're doing here, if you think anybody else would appreciate seeing what we're doing here, please consider liking, subscribing, share on platforms. It all makes a difference. It tells YouTube that what you just saw was actually of value. So if you could do that, we would appreciate it, and there will be more to come. Thank you guys so much.